I think we oftentimes can look at what we're going through and assume we are the only one who potentially has these problems. And when you look at that in the big scope, you think, how could we be so lucky to be the only one to have these things happen, right? Like millions and millions of people.
You're listening to The Successful Bookkeeper with your host, Michael Palmer. Listen each week as inspiring guests share their secrets of success to help you increase your confidence, work smarter, and build a business you love. This episode of The Successful Bookkeeper is brought to you by PureBookkeeping.com, the proven system to grow your bookkeeping business.
Welcome back to the Successful Bookkeeper Podcast. I'm your host, Michael Palmer, and today's show is going to be fantastic. Our guest is the owner of Springstead Solutions. She is a Pure Bookkeeping licensee and an Accelerate 2 Advisor Program Super Ambassador. Christina Springstead, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Michael. I'm so excited to be here.
Oh, it's great to have you. And I always love hearing the business journey and what people go through in growing their business. So I'm looking forward to this conversation as always. But before we get into all of that, Christina, tell us a little bit about your career journey leading up to this point.
Oh, goodness. Well, I will take it all the way back to high school when I was in Business Professionals of America and focused on accounting classes, and actually went out of high school into college with the sole purpose of wanting to be an accountant. And about a year into that, I told myself, you don't really want to sit behind a desk 40 hours a week, so this isn't the job for you. Got an itch and completely left the field and went into athletic training. So did a complete 180 there in college, and then took a break from that as well. Realized that was a little bit more graphic of a type of a career than what I wanted to have. And so took some time off and went and worked and got some work experience, and realized I just always ended up in management of a company's finances at some point. So no matter where I went, I was moving up and I was always involved in financial processes. So ended up going back to school and got my master's in business, and went to work in operations for the NBA DL for quite some time, which I enjoyed, but the industry was a little bit too much time intensive when I became a mom. So that became a lot. And then from there, I ended up getting a marketing job for a local casino. Same thing, the hours got kind of crazy with being a mom. And finally ended up running the office of a local sign shop recently. And from running it and really working on sales, ended up in the finances always, because when you're doing sales, you want to know what the financial picture is. And I've just always loved numbers and loved what I was doing. So I actually was side gigging my bookkeeping job for a decade while I was running another business. And right before the pandemic, decided, I think this is what I want to do. This is my passion project, and this is what I want to move in and do full time.
Wow, that's amazing. And what was it like when you made that leap to full time?
It's scary. It was so scary. I had told myself through my whole growing up that I never wanted to own a business. I didn't want the stress of it. I didn't want to have to worry about that. I always wanted to be the right-hand person of someone else. And something just changes at a certain point in your life where you realize, what you thought was the top of your dream was just a point to level up, right? So I got to the top of the level that I always thought I wanted and realized, oh my goodness, there's more to this climb. So it was scary. I am someone who likes structure. I like to know exactly what's coming. I like to know I can pay my bills. I want to know exactly what my paycheck is going to look like. And so it was very nerve-wracking and almost emotionally debilitating at some point because I was scared. I knew I could do it and I was excited for what it could be. But that inner critic of myself was really concerned.
And how did you deal with that?
Oh, I don't think I went about it the right way immediately. I'm a perfectionist by nature, so I just stopped sleeping, basically. I just went full bore in, learning all the things, servicing every client that I had, even though they were the clients when you first start out and you kind of take all the clients because you think that's what you're supposed to do. And really went to making sure that the service and I was answering questions as they needed to really make sure I was justifying my value. And so I did it through almost overcommitment of my time and energies to it.
Wow. That would have been an impact on you, your family, all of that.
It has definitely, it's still an impact that I'm dealing with. I'm on the upper hand of my 40s, so going to be approaching 50 more than I'm approaching 40, and realize, the impact of that, the not sleeping, the not taking care of yourself, the just one more hour and I can get all this stuff done at a desk. It got me to where I needed to be, and I'm grateful for the journey, but there is definitely some impacts that I'm still trying to recover from.
Absolutely. What were some of the barriers or roadblocks that you went and had when you were just getting started?
Oh, well, barriers and roadblocks was the number of hours in the day, right? I just felt like there was never enough. Also, I think when you dive into something full time is, one of the biggest barriers is yourself. You really start to question if you're capable, if you're knowledgeable enough, looking at other people and what they're doing. I think that's a normal thing, is that we want to look to others that we really look up to. And that was as helpful as it could be. It was almost a barrier too. It caused a lot of self-doubt. And I think that's something that all of us entrepreneurs deal with, right? Is like we're looking at someone else who appears to have all of their stuff together. So that was it. I think I was my biggest barrier. I think that is still true today, is the mindset that I had, or the easy dips it was to, compare myself to someone else. I think those were the largest barriers. Also with the hours. And then, the concern is it was just me. I didn't have extra bodies in labor. So it was one person trying to fulfill all the things. And as you start to grow, as everybody knows, is there's administrative duties and there's, process duties and there's things to scale and there's your marketing. And then there's just doing the work on top of all that. Just not enough hours in the day and not enough bodies to get it all done, especially not to the point that I would have liked to have it done.
We all want so much more time. It's like I when I was younger, I used to love the weekend, and now I'm wishing there was more week than weekend, just to get the stuff done in business. It just keep on going. So tell us a little bit about you eventually became a pure bookkeeping licensee. What was going on in your business and life that led you to that?
So I happily stumbled across pure bookkeeping and A2A in my journey of entrepreneurship. One of the things that I was extremely passionate about is the shop that I had been running for over a decade really got hit hard by the 2008 real estate crash. And when I came in, there was just lingering effects due to them not having a cash flow management structure in place. And as many other companies experienced, it was a really rough road to get out of what happened so quickly in that business. And so I had gone to a conference, and in the Facebook group, I was in this group of everybody who attended, and they kept talking about profit first. And I was like, what is this profit first? And I dove into the book and was extremely interested and intrigued. And so I set up an appointment and actually ended up becoming Profit First certified. And through that community, I found Lisa Campbell. She was in our Profit First groups, and she launched her mastermind class, which I went to because at that point I was just craving someone to give me information of how to move forward. I think that imposter syndrome is you didn't really want to tell people that you had these concerns about yourself, right? Didn't want to tell them that your processes were lacking. And I had done all of my networking basically here in my local community. So I didn't want to share my concerns and what I thought were my perceived weaknesses with people here in town that would see me out and about at the local events. So I saw this mastermind group and I thought, this is a bunch of people that I don't know that I could really connect with and hear, get some tips and tricks that are going to help me survive this growth mode that I was going through. And so I went through her class, and halfway through when she talked about her program and the ability to sign up, I had this burning sensation in my gut. Like I needed to leap and I needed to do it now. And it was so scary because, her program is an investment, and it's a large investment, especially when you're pretty new. but I just knew that I needed this, that I needed a community who understood me, that I needed people to help hold me up, and that I needed these structures. Because the one thing that I'm known about through our community, I serve a lot and I do a lot of events and volunteering of time, is I'm usually the organized one, the one who puts the things together, the processes and procedures. And so when in my own business, I had so many to put together that I was struggling, I knew I needed to get some assistance. So as we know, in A2A is peer bookkeeping is a part of that program. And that is how I was so blessed to stumble across the program and the community of A2A.
It's remarkable how you found it. And, I just love hearing where people have that burning desire inside. It's like the intuition, but you listened to your intuition and you took the risk because, as you said, it was a large investment, but you leapt. And what has been that journey after the leap? How did it go? What did you discover?
Oh, the journey has been a wild one. I think the biggest discovery was that any hiccup that I think I have, any imposter syndrome, things that go through my mind, I'm not the only one. I think we oftentimes can look at what we're going through and assume we are the only one who potentially has these problems. And when you look at that in the big scope, you think, how could we be so lucky to be the only one to have these things happen, right? Like millions and millions of people. So what has been great is just the community that has come, which it not only helped with the process and the procedures, and those are priceless, and the structure that you have something in where I'm actually looking to grow my staff right now and bring someone on full time at the end of the summer. And I don't have looming anxiety of how I'm going to get that person plugged in, right? Like how many hours is this going to take me? It helped that. But truly, it just helped knowing I had a community, right? Like it's almost like you get counseling and mentorship and, someone to walk along with you and just people to lift you up when you don't need it. So it was so much more than what I thought it would be. And that has come from the pure bookkeeping community and the A2A. Together, they're a wonderful community, and separately as well.
Yeah, it really, it's such a lovely relationship that we have with A2A. And I mean, Lisa was just like you when she was starting out. And I remember meeting Lisa and having similar struggles where she had a lot there, but she needed to figure it out. And so she went through that process, and now she does such a wonderful job of sharing exactly where she was and helping people like yourself and so many others make those leaps and take things on, because you can get so much further when you work with other people and learn from them and use, leverage the energy as well. What's so amazing is that I see it in myself, and I'm sure you can relate, is that we think we can do so much because it's what we know that we can do. But then all of a sudden put ourselves around other people that are doing all these other things. And it's like, wait a second, it's a magical moment that you can't really explain, and you never know when you're ready to actually make the leap in your mind, but you certainly will have a tough time doing it on your own. And that's why these programs and these groups and communities are so valuable. Did you have an aha moment through this at any point?
Yeah, I think I've had several.
Let's hear them.
And I think my biggest aha moment is, and I think this will relate to a lot of people in the accounting industry, is I believe a lot of us share a perfectionist nature, right? Like we're going in, we're reconciling, we got to get to that penny situation. And I think that carries through to a lot of our personalities, not all of us, right? But I think that's a common thread that we all have. And my aha moment was when I choose to be vulnerable in the moments that are really breaking me in my business, because you're in these communities only a short amount of time, right? And I think I went to the first couple months of meetings just for the sake of listening to learn some stuff, right? And I still wasn't 100% sold in being vulnerable and putting kind of my weaknesses on the table and letting people help me. I felt like I had to do it myself. I felt like this was something that I did, and I couldn't let people see my struggles and my challenges. And there was a moment where I just came to a meeting and broke down and was really putting it out. And I thought, at this point, they could see what was wrong and I've got nothing to lose to put it out there. And not only was everybody receptive and supportive, but so many people had gone through almost the exact same thing and made it out the other side. And the support and the encouragement and really just being able to get that weight off my shoulders, just even being able to speak it, the aha moment was I needed this community, right? So I just went into it as a program and something, but it's truly a community. And really dialing into these things and deciding that I was all in on making the change and really connecting to get that support. Because again, pure bookkeeping and A2A, they're programs and they're out there. But the aha was it's not just a program, it's a community. It's people who have launched this, not just to make a living and have something, but for the sole purpose of helping people. And I think in this society, we can forget that there are still those people out there that want to help you, and it's not a competitive thing. And, you don't have to worry about not trusting people. So that was my aha moment, was that, and then bringing it into it's okay to value yourself. I had a situation with some clients and I needed support on how could I walk through this, because it was really crippling to me. And the end of it was good. I thought it was going to be devastating and just a really uncomfortable moment with my client, and actually turned out really well. So yeah, I think that was my biggest aha moment, is all the processes and procedures are great, but it's allowing yourself to be vulnerable and really being honest with what is happening in your business. That is what was needed to make that change, because otherwise I wasn't going to be able to get out of my way so that my company could grow for my team and for my clients.
It's a remarkable experience to realize that, sitting here listening to it, it's just one of those things that businesses, when it's small, like you have and many in this industry have, it's you and your whatever barriers that you have are going to show up in that business. And so whatever work you can do to break through that is valuable. You found community which is really the secret, is a wonderful curated community of people that want to help you and want to be successful and, bring that energy. It transfers into you. So it's great to hear your results. And just listening to you throughout this conversation, I know that you're someone that supports others in their results and their journey. I'd love to hear some stories of what you've seen in the community and maybe the transformations that you've seen others make alongside you as you were going through this transformation yourself.
Yeah, I think it's so crazy, because I think a lot of us have had the same types of results and journeys, but just different stories behind them, right? So what I've noticed the most is just the sense of confidence in where we all are, the ability to face our inner demons, our inner imposters that we think are living there. And the questions that we come in so being unsure if we're going in the right direction. And at the end of this, in the community, really recognizing our value, right? Like, I think we've always known that we had value, but sometimes you need that just reiterated or someone to recognize it. And that's something that's hard to do. Even in your family, they can give you all the encouragement, but having someone who truly understands what you're going through in a professional sense, who understands the long nights, the long evenings, the why we just don't shut it down at 11 when there's one more thing to get done for your client, that stress that you carry. You can get that support from your friends and family, but there's just something different about someone who is living the same journey with you, who's walking that same uphill climb with you. And for them to be there and say, you are not alone. This is normal. You are doing a great job. What you're doing is amazing. And really saying, these are normal struggles and you're fine, right? Like, you're going to be able to move on from this. Or when you're going through something, say with a client or a vendor, and you think it's you and you've got the support to say, no, this is absolutely a problem on the other side. I've just noticed all of us being able to better problem solve, right? Better come up with our own solutions and to identify boundaries. I think that's one thing that, we really want to help clients. And a lot of times we can get clients who aren't so willing to help themselves. And we've been able to help each other learn that, sometimes the best way to serve a client is to cut them loose because, we're providing too much stress or strain with, we can't care more about our clients' finances than they do. And I think that's a common thing in this industry. And so if you're a people pleaser, like I believe so many of us are, we hold on to clients for so long who really don't want to be held on to. They just want to, be served for one purpose, which is filing their taxes at the end of the year. So the end result is we've all come out with confidence, with clarity, and with, I think, a renewed purpose and a sense of drive to build these amazing lives that we're all capable of having.
So true. Your point there around being people pleasers and wanting to help. I mean, it's a strength. It's needed. If you didn't care, you wouldn't be there doing it. It takes me back to my lifeguard training, where the very first thing we learned was how to make sure the person that was in trouble didn't drown ourselves. And that, I think, happens in any business, in any industry. When you're a business owner trying to help other people, you can smother yourself out and it doesn't leave you in a good place. And so being in a supportive community to help you see that, to help give you the skills, the language, the ability to get yourself out of that is so powerful.
Absolutely. I have seen just time and time again, and I never would have thought, or it never would have occurred to me that it was for the best to let clients go. It always occurred to me that it was best to hang in there and do what needed to be done to get the job done, right? And that is not true. And I've realized it's not only true in my business, it's true in real life. This has bled into my personal life. And I've realized, not having boundaries in business probably means you don't have boundaries in life either. So it's been a ton of increased confidence in my professional life, but also in my personal life.
Key learnings. I'd love for you to share with our listener. What advice would you give to them if they're finding themselves in the position that you're in or have been in?
Seek out your tribe, whatever that might be. There are so many resources for our community out there that I never really thought there would be. It kind of shocked me how many social media groups there are, or just places where you can find other people, safe spaces that you can connect with people, such as the pure bookkeeping community, the A2A program, if that speaks to you. But find your tribe and someone who can understand you on a professional level, where you can be in a safe space to talk about what's going on. I think that was my key learning, is the processes and the procedures and the tasks and all of that can be done and really be done in silence if you need to. But the struggle of running this business that it takes, the toll that it can take, even if you try to stuff it down and avoid it, is there. And just having people in your community that you can talk to, whether it's superficial for today and it's really deep the next day, is invaluable. And I didn't really realize it until about 12 months later, after joining all the programs, of how much it helped, even in the moments when I didn't think it did. So that is definitely a key takeaway, is find someone you can connect with and confide in.
Great advice. And what about the future for you? What does the future hold for your business?
Oh gosh, I'm so excited. It holds safe boundary growth. And what I mean by that is that I've got the confidence. I'm actually hiring a full-time assistant to lead some stuff in August here. So I'm prepared. And so it involves me teaming with my employees, right, with my teammates, and putting out the services that are going to help clients really ensure that they can stick around for a long time and serve others. So I've just realized my why is that I am out there helping people who have this amazing skill or craft or talent build a financial foundation so that they can continue to help others. So I'm like the catalyst to ensure other people can help other people, right? Which is like a domino effect. So I'm really excited. It is involving more profit coaching, better structured bookkeeping, and just really great service to my clients.
Amazing. You mentioned about your business, your future. You're building a business that it's part of your exit plan. Maybe share a little bit about what your creating around your business and how you want it to fuel your future?
Yeah, I mean, my business, I'm looking at it as a couple of different wings. I'll call it wings of the business. I don't like divisions because I feel like it starts with divide, and it just doesn't feel good. But I'm wanting to have multiple streams of income. Lots of people talk about that, and there's a way to do that within my business. So I am building a bookkeeping business, which is really the foundation of what I'm doing. At the foundation of everything I'm doing is someone needs to have healthy books. So that is definitely service level that I'm doing. And then profit coaching, I'm going into that. So a lot of consulting and coaching. I found that I really enjoy that. And one thing that I think is great, and I don't think we give ourselves enough credit, is when we can look at a client's finances and have conversations with them around that. A company's financial foundation is really the determining factor on if it can stay afloat, right? So I love consulting with clients, not just on their books and their finances, but what's happening in the rest of their business. And I found that it's just intuitive to move into their hiring practices and their pricing and their vendor relations, and just really becoming a consultant to look at the business from a holistic approach and not just from a numbers approach. And so my goal in my exit plan is to eventually have someone run the day-to-day part of it, and I get to go out and do strategy talks with people and maybe run workshops. So, which is a business and a consulting piece that I never would have thought about 2 years ago. Never would have dreamed that that would have been something I was excited for. And here I am. And I fully give credit to Pure Bookkeeping and the structure and the processes they put in place, and the A2A community.
It's amazing. So exciting. I like to hear your excitement, and it makes me excited for you. Wonderful, wonderful story. If people want to connect with you, Christina, what would be the best way for them to do that?
I would tell them to go to my website, which is springsteadsolutions.com, and they can find all my social media places from there that they can connect me with. So if they like Facebook or Instagram or LinkedIn, all of my connections are there, but start at the website. You can see who I am, read a little bit about me and my journey, and connect with me from there. Whatever connection point works for them.
Wonderful. And of course, we'll have links where you can learn more about the Accelerate to Advisor programs that are on. And there's some fantastic ones that run throughout the year, as well as Lisa's full program, as well as Pure Bookkeeping. Christina, this has been absolutely lovely having you here, sharing your journey. It has, for me, been a renewed excitement in my day, just hearing it. And I know it will be the case for our listeners. So on behalf of our listener, thank you for your generosity in coming and sharing all of this with us.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm just grateful.
Wonderful. And with that, we wrap another episode of the Successful Bookkeeper podcast. To learn more about today's wonderful guest and to get access to all sorts of valuable free business building resources, you can go to thesuccessfulbookkeeper.com. Until next time, goodbye.
You've been listening to The Successful Bookkeeper with Michael Palmer. For more information and to download the resources mentioned in this episode, please visit us at thesuccessfulbookkeeper.com. Thank you for listening.